Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Bongino. This is my lovely, I married up, as you can tell, wife. Well, you can't say hello. I didn't introduce you. Paula Bongino. We're not going to do one of those Mika Brzezinski, Joe Scarborough moments. Remember when he tried to kiss her on the camera? Do you remember Although you are very kissable. But see, she's a beauty.
Only to you.
She's a little nervous, so we got to kind of roll with this a little bit. My wife doesn't get stuck on camera as much as I do. But thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. We're going to try to knock out a lot of these books today. We're going to sign them for you. We appreciate the pre-sales were insane. What do we do, like 1,000 you said copies or something? So apparently it was really successful. If you want a copy, here's the website. It's premiercollectibles.com/Spygate. So premiercollectibles.com/Spygate. They're not book plates. I refuse to do them. They are actual books. I'm signing the book, okay? They're not stickers. premiercollectibles.com/Spygate. So before we sign, my wife's going to ask me some questions later while we knock some of these out, which you submitted, which I appreciate. But just quickly, why I wrote the book. I really didn't intend to write a book. We wanted to write more of kind of like, a short story?
That's right.
And do an online, maybe online ebook. And there was so much interest in this story when we started covering it on the podcast that Paula said to me, just write the darn book. So me and Denise McAllister and Matt Palumbo, who did a lot of work, I want to give them a hat tip. They did a tremendous amount of work. Put together this book. There's diagrams.
Show them the diagrams.
Yeah.
I love to see that.
The footnotes are extensive. You can see. And by the way, a lot of the footnotes are liberal footnotes from liberal outlets. So when they go, oh, yeah, you guys are making this up, you go, okay, that's funny. Go to footnote number 78, CNN story on the thing. But here's some of the diagrams with all the connections. And it's laid out like a police report. So you don't have to read the book straight through. You can actually read the end and then the middle and then the beginning. You can do it in whatever order you want because it's written like a police report. You're going to love it. You're not going to be able to put it down now.
I couldn't put it down.
You're honest with me about my books.
Yes.
My third book, she thought was too wonky. She's like, the last book. She picked this up, my wife, and you were at...
I could not put it down. It's like a spy novel.
She's not lying to you.
I love it.
Believe me, she throws compliments around like manhole covers.
That is not true.
Yes, on books, yes, you do. So, all right, I'm going to get to signing some of these while Miss Paula here starts asking some questions, and we'll get this knocked out.
All right. So we got this question a couple of times.
All right.
When are you going to add video to your podcast?
Oh, the famous video to the podcast. We'll let you in on a little secret. If you were nice enough to join us at 2 o'clock during the weekday, we're getting a lot of people, so I appreciate that. We'll let you in on a little secret. We're working on something now. Don't worry. Everything with the audio podcast is going to remain the same. That's not going to change. However you download it now, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeart, nothing will change. The video, there will be a live option. Let's just say, can we say coming soon?
Coming soon.
In the new year. We
Very
are working
soon,
on it now, and I promise I will give you details, stat. But that question, we got that a lot, right?
Yes, we did.
Video of the podcast.
And I get that question in email every day.
This is the lovely woman, by the way. Did I not marry up? She is the most one, and she's smart, too. She's a genius. She's much smarter than me. She reads your emails, too, so...
I answer a lot of them.
Yes, she does. See, you're a natural on camera.
All right. How do you handle the frustrations you encounter daily?
Who said I handle them? I don't handle them. I go to the gym and deadlift weights and drop them in the gym. Handle. What? You're not aware of my notoriously horrible temper and disposition? Who said anything about handling them? Thank you for the question, but there's no handling. I don't handle anything.
Will Trump pardon Manafort?
Yes, but not now. I think either after the midterms or after the 2020 election. But yes, I believe. And so let me be clear on this. I have had no conversations with the president, his team, or anyone about that at all. I want to be crystal clear. But you're asking my opinion? Absolutely. I think you will.
What was the trigger that started you digging into all this corruption?
The trigger.
Famous episode 628.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Paula and I, this is my house, obviously. The living room's right around the corner over there. And one day on a Sunday, she was like, man, what are you doing? Because weekends, we try to take off and spend some time together. And for obvious reasons, we're married. We enjoy each other's company. And remember that Sunday? I sat there in the living room and, how do I say this? A source, let's say, emailed me and said, Dan, you've got to read this angle on, it wasn't called Spygate. Back then it was called Obamagate, if you remember.
That's right.
And they said they had an angle for me on what was going on. And I found it fascinating. And I sat there the whole day and I said to Paula, I said, Paula, I got to cover this on the show tomorrow. It was a Sunday. If you remember the famous episode number 628 of my podcast where it blew up, we like tripled our audience overnight. It was on a Monday. And I spent that entire Sunday, and my wife was kind enough to give me a weekend pass on that and let me do it, lining out what I thought was the biggest scandal of our time. And the funny thing is, if you go back and listen to episode 628 now, it's over 6 months old, all of it came out later on, and everybody acted like it was breaking news. It's all there, and it's all here, too, in the book, by the way. Again, premiercollectibles.com/Spygate, premiercollectibles.com/Spygate if you want an autographed copy. Again, I'm signing the actual books. These aren't props. These are real books, I promise. It's not like a joke prop book here. So.
All right. In your early life, what influenced you to seek justice?
To seek justice? Well, I wanted to be a doctor. And when I was younger, my mother was married to a really abusive guy. And he used to do really nasty stuff. And I wanted to be a doctor, but one night he came over the house and he was like breaking stuff. And the way our house was set up is my bedroom was right by the front door. So this guy was slamming on the front door, and he was a really big guy, and he wasn't really afraid of anyone. And it was the only people he was afraid of were the cops. So the cops showed up, and I was pretending to sleep, of course. And I watched this guy who was really like very upset and very scary. And the only people who calmed him down were the cops. And I felt so relieved when the cops when they showed up that night. And I wanted, after that, I said, I want to do that. I want to, I don't want to be dramatic. I wasn't like, I want to save people's lives. I wanted to make people feel better. And I thought, gosh, these cops just changed everything just by showing up. So that's why I changed my whole career path. I mean, I still tried to become a doctor later, remember?
You did. Yeah,
while I was in the Secret Service, I took the MCATs.
Yeah,
study, and I did well, and I just didn't get in. I was really upset, but I never quite let the doctor thing go either. But it's not going to happen now. It's we're too knee deep, and we have 20 different jobs right now.
No more. Yeah. All right, this one is from James in Oklahoma. Dan, why don't you run for office?
Oh my God. We love Oklahoma. Thanks, Oklahoma, for the shout out there.
Got family in Oklahoma.
Yeah, we got family in Nichols Hills in Oklahoma. My sister lives out there. I ran for office 3 times, folks, and we almost won one. We lost. We actually won on election day. We lost on the absentee count 4 days later. But we got smoked the 2 other times. And listen, I think I have a much larger influence. We have depending on the day, the 2nd or 3rd biggest podcast in the country right now. We reach hundreds of thousands of people a day. We get to write books exposing these massive government scandals. My voice, I think, is just far more powerful on the outside. And politics is not for me, guys, ladies. I tried it. I lost. It didn't quite work out. I appreciate everyone that supported me, but it's just not for me. I don't think I have the temperament for it either. So,
no.
I don't take any shit. Can we say that? Sorry. Is there any kids? Don't say that word. And you got it in politics. That's the whole essence of politics.
Family friendly, please.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure. My wife always gets on me for that. My NRA TV show, I slip sometimes. She's like, why did you do that? But the essence of being a politician is learning how to take people's crap. And I'm not interested in that. Not even a little bit.
All right. What has been your proudest moment as a parent?
I answered this yesterday for Paula, and she laughed. She thought it was almost... But I'm telling you, I've had so many... It's always tough what's your proudest, because I have 2 great kids. And, I mean, even little... I don't know, like little... But the one thing that sticks out to me that really I was like, gosh, my oldest is really great, is we were doing a Fox and Friends hit in studio. And it was Abby Huntsman, and I forget who was there. And my daughter... So it was just supposed to be me, but my daughter was with me. So Fox and Friends is just like the greatest place ever. The producers, the camera people, the sound guys. Listen, I don't just say that because I do Fox. I'm telling you, they are genuinely great human beings. They said, hey, we want your daughter to come on quick in the next segment. I said, you mean on the show? So my daughter, who's just like a natural, doesn't even care. She's like, yeah, sure. So she sits on the curvy couch. This isn't that long ago. It's probably like 4 months ago. And Abby says to her right before she left Fox and Friends, she goes, Isabel, does your dad ever embarrass you? And if I don't even know where the segment is. I wish I had it. I'd put it up on my Facebook today for you. She goes, oh no, I love my dad.
She didn't even need to think.
Didn't even, I mean, like.
She was thinking my mom.
And then she asks her again, remember? She's like, oh, come on. He goes, oh, no, not at all. And it was just like heartburn. I mean, my heart just like folded. I was going to cry. Yeah. She was and she meant it. She's like, no, I love my dad. And, most kids would just answer the easy way. Oh, yeah, he does some silly things. Nope, not my kid. She went right for it, man.
Yeah, she was great.
And, Abby was being nice. Abby wasn't trying to, like, be silly about it. She just, that moment really warmed my heart. I'll remember that forever.
I know, you talked about it.
Yeah.
All right, what was your most rewarding moment as a Secret Service agent?
Oh, you lived through this one with me. You remember me calling you from Afghanistan after when finally they want Wheels Up? Like it's over?
That was a hard trip. Yeah, I didn't know where you were.
So this is an interesting story. So I'm a Secret Service agent, right? And when you're in the Secret Service, the maximum amount of time at that time you were allowed to do on a protection assignment for the president was 4.5 years. You had to go. Didn't matter because they didn't want people to go crazy. It's a stressful job. You'd have to go back to the field office, and then you could come back later, but you had to take a break, right? So I'm over my 4.5 year mark by a few days, and it's my birthday, remember? December 4th is my birthday.
Yes.
And I get called in on like December 1st or 2nd, and the boss, this guy Vic, the special agent in charge, says, Dan, I had just gotten back from where? Indonesia or something? Or Prague? I don't even remember.
I can't remember.
I had just gotten back from a foreign trip. I'm sick as a dog. I haven't slept in days. And the boss goes, hey, man, sign this non-disclosure agreement. I'm like, uh-oh, is he going to fire me or something? I'm like, what did I do wrong? He's like, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go to Afghanistan. I'm like, when? He's like, tomorrow. He said, they need you to go. Like you're the only guy right now who's got the lead skills to do it. So he said everybody else is out. I said, boss, I'm supposed to leave PPD, the Presidential Protection Division, and report to the Baltimore field office on Monday. They're like, don't worry, we'll tell them a story. You got sick or something. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I signed a non-disclosure agreement. I think I told you I was going to Hawaii or something at first. I couldn't tell you right away.
Yeah, he didn't tell me where he was, and he said, I can't call you, so...
And she was probably like, huh, what? Like this is one of those stories Secret Service agents tell. But I went over to Afghanistan, and about halfway through the trip, I got to tell her where I was when it was happening. And it was the most dangerous trip operation I ever did, by far. It was my birthday. I was supposed to go to Baltimore. We finally get Obama out of there safely and securely, despite unbelievable challenges, sandstorms, manpower issues, everything. And I called her and I said, I am coming home. And to get us out of Dodge quick, to get us out of Afghanistan, in fact, they let us jump on the Air Force One. There's always 2 of them on every trip. So they said, just fly home on the support plane, which is Air Force One. So that's what we did. Remember, I fell asleep on the floor. I said, I'm headed home, sweetheart. That was the best trip ever. But it was tough. It was dangerous, too. But I remember that one specifically like it was yesterday.
All right, this is a great question from Brian in Minnesota. Where's the meatloaf?
Where's the meatloaf?
If you're a listener, you understand.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know what he means, I'm a big fan of Wedding Crashers, the movie. And if you've seen the scene at the end with Owen Wilson and Will Ferrell, the meatloaf. We use that sound drop in our podcast a lot, and we actually have a shirt on our website we sell too with a the meatloaf line. So thank you. Thank you to the podcast listeners who tuned in. I really appreciate it.
What is it going to take for the media to finally become fair and objective?
I discussed this a long time ago in a piece I wrote at, I'm not sure if it's at Bongino.com or elsewhere, but I said, you're going to have to do that. And the way you do that is by your own personal form of activism, meaning never ever click on these biased sites ever. Don't give them clicks no matter what. And when you donate money to your colleges, make sure you tell them that you're not donating another dollar to a school of journalism unless they get some ideologically diverse people in there. And if they don't, they're not going to get another dime of your money. And it's really as simple as that. That's the only way. Financial pressure and click pressure is the only way to stop them from doing that. Only way.
All right, this is a comment from Robert in California. Thank you for being you and for fighting for America's future. That's
Oh,
very
thanks,
nice.
Robert.
Yeah,
That's
thank
awesome,
you.
brother. Hey, it's not me alone. It's you guys. Remember, this Kavanaugh thing, that was you. You're the ones, I just asked you to do it, but you're the ones who emailed and called your senators and put enough pressure on them that this thing happened and we got Kavanaugh appointed. So I appreciate the gratitude, but it's you that you guys and ladies that did it, not me.
All right. What was one of the more shocking details you discovered while doing this book?
The motives, I can't say this enough. Again, if you want an autographed copy, premiercollectibles.com/Spygate. premiercollectibles.com/Spygate. We'll send you an actual autographed copy. I'm signing them now. Again, these aren't props. We're actually mailing these back afterwards, out to you all. The most shocking thing is unquestionably the motives. Now, I get it. A lot of you are saying, oh, the motive's obvious. Hillary wanted to win the election. Yeah, of course. That's the easy one. The motive's obvious. Obama didn't like Trump. Yeah, that's obvious too. That wasn't it. When we started digging, Denise specifically, McAllister, who found this tidbit. This was not mine. She found this one. She's one of the co-authors on the book. Interestingly enough, we had always wondered, like the motives for Obama and Hillary, like I just said, are pretty self-explanatory. They just wanted to win the election and they were abusing power. But I'd always wondered, and I'd said to you, why all these foreign intelligence entities risked so much to get involved? The Australians, the United Kingdom, I mean, they risked their international relations with the United States to get involved. It just didn't make any sense. Especially if their motive was, well, they just didn't like Trump. Well, when you read the book and you get to the chapter on what actually happened with the foreign intel people, you're going to be astonished at the motives of some of these people that are so readily apparent by just reading their public speeches. Denise found it, and some of the speeches are like, the speeches might as well have read, here's why we tried to get Donald Trump not elected. And I mean, it's so obvious when you look back, but I'm telling you, everybody missed it. Me too. And I was deeply involved in this case. Denise is the one that read the speeches and found these little pockets of information in there that are in the book, and it's going to blow you away. You're going to be like, gosh, we just didn't know what we were looking for. And now when you see it, it's going to become so obvious why they did that, why they got involved. And nobody else has put that out. I'm sure. That's in this book and this book only.
If you weren't the best at what you do now, what other profession do you think you would be?
Oh, that's a nice one. That's a great question. Thank you. I appreciate that. I would be a mixed martial arts fighter. 100%.
Yes, you would.
Yes, it is always my dream. I've been involved in it for a long time. Unfortunately, I'm 43, going to be 44 in December. So my fighting days are over. But I love mixed martial arts. Been in it from the beginning. I met Paula with a black eye on our second date or third date, was it?
It was about the third.
Third date. Showed up with a massive black eye from Boris.
Did.
Boris, the wrestler, who kneed me in the face. And it was a big black eye.
Took a lot of beating.
I did take a lot of beatings.
The broken ribs.
Broken ribs, broken nose.
Yeah.
Two popped elbows. Two torn meniscus in the knee. What else? Popped ankles, sprained ankles, broken nose twice.
Yeah, the nose was the
The nose. Remember when you came downstairs? I was sparring with my brother.
Had blood everywhere.
And he smashed my nose
Cleans
in.
it up, says, all right, what's for dinner?
and then remember we went out to like Famous Dave's after that?
We went to Famous
She's like, I think you should go to the hospital. I'm like,
Nose
I'm good.
is big.
I'm like, Paul, I don't think I can breathe. There was so much blood in my nose, I couldn't breathe.
You had surgery.
Yeah, I had to have surgery later to fix it. But yeah, we went out to eat that night. I was like, no, I'm good. Don't worry about it. But yeah, mixed martial arts.
That was your brother.
That was my brother. He was a devastating fighter.
Yeah.
That's definitely what I would have done. That's my dream. That's my great regret.
Yeah. All right, Dan, what must we do to prevent this from happening in the future?
We have to clean out the upper level of the FBI. You know, today's podcast, I talk about this a little bit. Anybody involved in the operation to launder information to the FBI, anybody involved in the spying operation on Donald Trump, anybody involved in the setup of the Donald Trump team has got to go. Has to be fired, terminated from their position. It's the only way. An example has to be set. And here's the big end. Anybody involved in criminal leaks of information, no free passes, no pardons, no nothing. You have to go to jail. No question about it. A message has to be sent. This story is devastating. You read this book, Spygate, by me and Denise and Matt, and you will not come away with, there's no way you will come away with any other conclusion than that this was the biggest scandal in American history. No way. And I'm telling you, look, I'm not making this up. It is footnoted and charted to death. The footnotes are there. Read the story. If you don't believe me, Dan's a conservative. Just read the footnotes. Go and read the articles yourself. It's all there. If you want a signed copy, again, it's at premiercollectibles.com/Spygate, premiercollectibles.com/Spygate, and we'll send you a signed copy.
Right. Let's see. Kim from Pennsylvania. Have you thought about having guests on your show in the future?
On my podcast? We have. Now, not as a regular thing. Joe and I have kind of a... But I have been, we've kind of got a thing going. I've been thinking about adding a Friday night interview segment with a guest on my podcast. I do have guests on my NRA TV show. I'm considering it, and I'll tell you what. If that's something you think you'd like to hear, let me know. I'm happy to do an interview segment we'll put out on a Friday evening or something like that. Email us. Our email's on the website, bongino.com, and we're thinking about it. We've got a couple different things in the works, right, with the podcast? Mm-hmm. But don't worry, what you have now is not going to change, I promise you.
All right, this one is about Producer Joe. If Producer Joe was a cartoon villain, who would he be?
Oh my gosh, you'd have to be Dick Dastardly from that thing. I never even saw the cartoon, but he plays that Muttley laugh that drives you crazy.
I cannot stand the
I know,
Muttley
Paula
laugh.
hates that.
I can't.
For those of you who listen to my show,
it.
the Muttley laugh has become a big source of consternation.
I hit that 15-second button.
She hates it, Paula. She can't stand it. Man, we're really signing a lot of books here.
All right.
You all ordered a lot of books. Thank you very much. Order more. Order more. If you want, I'm happy to sign them.
All right, we got Kyle from California. I love how you have date night with your wife. What's the secret to a happy life when you're so dedicated to your work?
Well, listen, you know I'm always candid with the audience, and I know it probably drives you crazy. But we didn't have the greatest marriage the first 5 years. I was kind of a jerk. You know?
Used to fight a lot.
We fought a lot. And you want my opinion? Listen, I am not anybody's preacher, but I love my wife to death. You have no idea. I know you do, but they don't, obviously. But you will now. But it wasn't always that way. The first 5 years were really, really hard. And I think what has to happen is, I think things changed a while ago for us when you take off any kind of like divorce as an option. There's no, once you consider an option an easier way out, you're going to take it. The minute you say to yourself, this is the person for me, and I know it sounds really stupid and simple. It's not. You have to commit in your head. If you want, listen, if you don't want it, that's your problem. But if you really want to make your marriage work, you have to actually commit to taking any separation or anything off the table. And then you will make it work out. But I think the key to me and you having like can I say spicy? Or will you be embarrassed? Spicy marriage? It's not hard when you look like Paula.
Can I say spicy? You just said it.
I did. It's not hard. But I mean, a really loving marriage and a marriage where you really dig your wife big time is to learn new things about him. Wouldn't you say that? So on the date night, here's a trick we do. We have to do the date night. It's like a must, even when I'm in a bad mood. Remember how bad a mood I was in with the Kavanaugh thing? When Jeff Flake flaked on us? You got to go out, put everything behind you. But here's my advice, right? Play like Truth or Dare or like 21 Questions with your wife or your husband and ask them things. Yes. You don't have to be like that, but...
This is live.
Yes, I know. Play 21 questions and find something out about them you didn't know before. No, I learn new things about you all the time.
That's true.
All the time. I learned she's a great dancer last night.
That's true.
Didn't I? Last night we were having some fun.
Know that?
I knew. Well, you've told me, but you never did the dancing moves. Last night we were watching a meme and they had this old song from the 80s that I liked, but she hadn't heard. So she's like, let me show you my dance. And I said to her, damn, you're a really good dancer. I've been married to her 15 years. I never knew that. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't know it like that. And what did I tell you? I said, gosh, I wish I would have knew you when I was younger. So learn something new and ask 21 questions.
That's good advice.
And you will find out new things about your wife every day.
He's so sweet.
You deserve it.
Do you ever sleep?
I get that question a lot. Me, as you well know. Well, no. Do I sleep? Yeah. I mean, I know what you're asking. No, I don't sleep very well at all. It's been the great bane of my existence. And it's because, what was the opening question of the show, right? You asked, how do you deal with all? And the answer is, I don't. I told you, I have a really bad temper and a horrible disposition sometimes. I don't. I wish I could let stuff go, but I can't. But I do work a lot. I have right now, did you say like 4 jobs almost?
Yes, it's a busy schedule.
I have my podcast. We have the NRA TV show, which takes forever to put together.
The book.
We have the book. We have speeches. We do Fox, although I don't work there formally. We do Fox commentary. So the problem with my day is that it's broken up. There's no, like when I worked in the Secret Service, it was an 8-hour day. And you went home and the day was over. Most of the time. But not with this job. So we do the podcast 10 to 11. Then it's right to the gym, back from the gym, producing the NRA TV show. NRA TV show 5:30, eat dinner, back to Tucker or Hannity, do that, and then sign books or do it. So it never ends. I mean, it's just, it never, that's why something's always on my mind all the time. I have a hard time sleeping.
What can we do to get term limits for the Senate?
You have to change the Constitution. And I think it's a tough, I agree with you, but I think I think that's going to be a really tough road to hoe right there. I mean, you got to get Mark Levin's Liberty Amendments pushed through. That's a great book too, by the way.
This is a good question. We get this a lot in email as well. 5 best books for conservatives.
5.
Besides Spygate.
Spygate, no. First, Vision of the Anointed by Thomas Sowell. It's a must read. I can't, my life, if you enjoy my commentary at all, I can tell you unabashedly that I would not be the libertarian conservative I am if I had not read that book. Vision of the Anointed by Thomas Sowell is a life changer. Number 2 is Conflict of Visions by Thomas Sowell. It's a little more detailed. It's a slower read. It's like Vision of the Anointed on steroids. But it's really, if you read them in that order, I think it's better. I'd say Capitalism and Freedom by Milton Friedman is number 3. That's a must-read book. I'd say A History of the American Left by Dan Flynn is another one. And Fred Siegel's book, and forgive me, I always forget the title, but there's a Fred Siegel book. I never, ever remember the title. I always forget. That's another great book, too, that talks about the history of the American left as well. You read those 5, you've knocked it out of the park.
What do you believe happened to Mifsud, and do you think he will ever speak out?
I'll be honest with you, folks. I'm not even sure Mifsud's alive. And it's not a conspiracy theory. It's just the Democrats themselves in that DNC memo. I'm not laughing. It's not funny. I'm just, no one can find Mifsud, Joseph Mifsud. For those of you who don't know who he is, he's the originator of this whole thing. He's alleged to be the guy with Russian connections, according to the Democrat narrative, that gave this information to George Papadopoulos, but nobody can find Mifsud. Nobody. Nobody knows where he is. He's never been seen after that FBI interview. The DNC seems to think he may not even be alive, and that may in fact be true, although his agent says otherwise. But I have no idea what happened to Mifsud. None. But we know he's in hiding because nobody can find him.
When is Spygate due out? It's out now.
It's out now, today. You get bookstores, premiercollectibles.com/Spygate if you want an autographed copy, premiercollectibles.com/Spygate, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Bookstores, I think, what is it, Price Club or BJ's just bought a whole boatload of them. So,
that's right.
Listen, we've been rocking up the charts, so please pick up a copy. It means a lot. We put a lot of work into this, Denise and Matt as well. So this really has been, how stressful was putting this book together?
It was a lot of work.
Yeah, it was.
Took a long time.
I know, it was a real, at points it was a real hassle.
Yeah.
I was like, Paula, this thing better sell well because it
was not only the book, but the podcast as well. It's been a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at I put together on my podcast, I put together notebooks of information. I have, 5 or 6 notebooks of information filled, page to page, no lines missing, of Spygate information from sources and otherwise. Is that all the books? Did we sign every one of them?
You did. That was pretty
gosh.
quick.
And I signed another couple hundred before. What else you got for me?
All right. I love this question because I love this story. Dan and Paula When and where did you guys meet?
Well, I met Paula. Sorry, I just need to hold my... I met her on a blind date. It was a pretty interesting story. I had asked a cousin. I was joking. I had a cousin by marriage. It wasn't no blood relation. And we were at this event, and I was a young, at the time, single Secret Service agent. And his wife, Margot, and I were talking, and I was laughing and joking. I go, hey, you have any good-looking friends, Margot? And Margot happened to work with Paula, and she goes, matter of fact, I do. How about Paula? And I'm like, I did not want any blind dates. And matter of fact,
he was kidding.
she didn't either. So they reluctantly connect us two. I'm like a total jerk on the phone. Paula's not interested at all in this date.
Famous call, yeah.
Famous call. But here's the funny part. We go to this bar, Sullivan's, which I heard in Queens has just been bought out, which I'm devastated by. And the way the bar is set up is, here's like the bar floor, and it's open on the outside, so you can see the people lined up. If you're in the bar, you can actually see the people outside because it's an open top.
This is before.
So I call her.
I had no idea what you look like.
We had no idea.
Yeah,
That's right. We had never seen each other at all, right?
I just told them I'll be wearing a red shirt and black pants.
Yeah, and I'm looking on the line, and I see this woman on a phone with a red shirt and black pants, and I was like, book drop moment. I'm like, I wish the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Yeah. And I told my friend who I was with, I had a 2-seater car at the time, a Corvette, which I thought was cool, but she didn't really care about. And I told my friend Brian I was with, I'm like, Brian, I got to pay for a cab for you home. I said, I'm really sorry, but this girl is, she's beautiful. And that's how we met on a blind date. I was blown away. I thought she looked like, do you know Vanessa Marcil from The Rock? Right? Vanessa, she's from General Hospital, and she looked like Vanessa Marcil. I said, and
I don't see it.
No, she does. Google Vanessa Marcil. It looks exactly like Paula.
All right. Is there anything you wrote in your book that changed or turned out different after your book was released?
I get that question a lot. People say to me and Paula, they'll say, hey, so you wrapped up your book a couple months ago. And a lot of stuff has come out since then. Folks, I kid you not. Outside of maybe the Sussman-Baker angle, the fact that people from the DNC, we now have the name, were feeding the information to James Baker, legal counsel at the FBI, almost everything that's come out is in here. I'm telling you. You're going to...
I know.
I mean, let me just... I'm just going to pick a rando chapter, okay? Oh, here we go. Pick a rando chapter, the investigation. Mike Flynn. Here you go. The Mike Flynn chapter. You can go right to Mike Flynn. You don't have to read it in order. You can pop right to this chapter. The Mike Flynn story and anything that's broken on Mike Flynn afterwards, outside of judicial proceedings, is already in here. I'm telling you, the sourcing on this stuff was amazing. Incredible. And again, a lot of it was Denise and Matt too. The general story and the outline and a lot of the writing was done by me, but Denise wrote most of the core of the book and Matt was the researcher. So there was a lot of interplay on this. And the sourcing was great, was terrific. And Denise developed a great source in one part about the FBI process for these investigations and how the process was broken. Read it. It's going to astound you. It's all there in the FBI's own manual, how they screwed this thing up. So.
Right. This is from Kelly in California. Do you ever have a day where you block all news regarding politics?
No, we've tried that.
It's impossible. You
know what it is? If you're really going to be a responsible author or content producer in this space, listen, this is your job. I used to do manual labor for a living. I dug graves, and that was hard. I was a grave digger in a cemetery, right? I cleaned mausoleums too. I mean, it was a terrible job, but that was really, really a lot of work. My job it's intellectual, it's cerebral, but I'm not breaking my back like I used to. And I have a lot of respect, having been a manual laborer and a cop and growing up in a family of manual laborers. I have a ton of respect for people who do it. My attitude is this: if you're busting your ass 40 hours a week, driving trucks as a carpenter, a steam fitter, an electrician, whatever it may be, then I at least owe it to you to stay tuned in all the time. Now, there are times at night, if there's nothing breaking, where you and I will put on mindless TV, some stupid movie or something.
Sometimes you do need a break.
But when there's breaking news like Kavanaugh on Saturday, We worked all day. Remember, I wrote the Own the Libs piece. I was at it all. It was a busier work day than the weekday. So I feel like I owe it to you. You guys and ladies actually, you know, are out there busting your butts. I can sit there and stay tuned in. It's not it's not that much. But we do go out Saturday nights too sometimes.
Late night. While you were researching and writing this book, did the experience you gained while working as a police officer and Secret Service agent help you put the pieces
Yes,
together?
yes. And that's why I told you the story arc in the beginning of the setup. The fact that this was a big setup from the start came from my experience as a federal agent. I've seen this. You know, I'm not knocking other content producers out there. A lot of great people who bring a lot to the podcasting, radio, and TV space. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm just saying, having been a federal agent for 12 years, worked terrorism cases, interviewed people, been there in proffer sessions, worked with the United States Attorney's Office. There were things I was reading about the case early where I would get in the car with Paula and I'd be like, no, that's not how this goes. That's not right. Like there is no way that story is true because I did it. So the story arc, like the first couple chapters, my work input is heavy. You'll see it when you read it. You can see it. But yes, my experiences, 100%. Like when they told me about when the Stefan Halper story broke, about the spy on the Trump team. That's in here. That was all. We were like, no, there's no way that happened the way they said it happened. None. And you'll see in the book that we just dismantle that whole thing.
All right. Jay from Indiana, how do you think we can get more conservatives back into academia?
Wait, I like this other question.
Wait,
what do you
one?
conceal carry? I'm a Glock 19 woman. I know.
I asked the question.
I know, but I saw that. That's really cool.
You answer.
This is a cool one.
That was next.
All right. There was that Dot. So what do I carry a SIG P365, but I have lots of guns. I have a Glock 43, a Glock 42, but I like the SIG P365 because it carries a 12, I think 11 plus 1. So I like that. Sorry, what was the other one? Sorry to get out of line there.
All right.
But I get that question
from
a lot.
Indiana, how do you think we can get more conservatives back into academia? Asking from a recent college grad and current law student.
Don't send your kids to these institutions unless you're willing to put financial pressure on them to hire in the humanities. That's where it's important. In the humanities to hire conservatives. This is not hard. We've had this conversation with our daughter now. She's going to college in 3-4 years. And we've had this conversation with her where we've said, listen, we're not sending you to a place that's going to indoctrinate you with this stuff. And we're just not doing it. We're not going to donate any money that way.
All right, this one's for me. Mary, she's watching us on YouTube, wants to know, when will Paula please make a cookbook?
Oh my gosh. You have got to do that.
I have like 5 meals.
No, but they're all good.
Very short cookbook.
No, but they're great. Your empanadas, her empanadas recipe is out. That's the one we did on Cooking with Friends on Fox and Friends.
You love that.
If you've ever had empanadas, they're great, but the problem is they're very fatty because people fry them. She found a way using like lean turkey meat and egg roll wraps to make empanadas, but almost bake them. We've had people over and they're blown away. They love them so much. We don't have a lot of guests. But my old campaign manager was over recently. We just ate right over there, and they went crazy over them. They're so good.
Loves them.
Remember them on Fox and Friends?
Everybody.
Even on the Fox and Friends set, everybody was like, "Those are damn good." You should do that, a cookbook. That would be really cool.
I don't have a lot of recipes.
It would just be 5 pages.
Your grandmother's spaghetti and meatballs.
Oh, my grandmother. Wait, you got to say it right. My grandmother's an old 90-year-old Italian we love to death. She calls it gravy. You can't call it sauce. It's gravy to them. It's not gravy like you get it. The Italians watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, we only got a couple more.
Okay.
Have you always
we still got to do our 22 questions thing, too.
That's right.
By the way, folks, premiercollectibles.com/Spygate for autographed copies. I signed them. We got boxes more literally sitting right there. We've had tons of pre-orders. We did like 1,000 pre-sub, which is awesome. You are the coolest audience ever. I'm really deeply touched. And even the Premier Collectibles folks were like, hey, you got a really cool set of listeners, man. So you made us look really, really good today. So thank you very much. But premiercollectibles.com/Spygate. You'll get an actual book, no book plate. I'm signing the books myself. We'll be shipping them out right after this. So thanks for buying. Really means a lot. Thank you.
Okay, Bill from New Jersey wants to know, have you always been this competitive and passionate?
Oh my gosh, you've known me as long as anybody on the planet right now. Am I not the most competitive guy ever?
Yes.
Everything. Like we have Paul and I. Paul is super smart. My website. We're both. Wouldn't you say like quantitative, not qualitative? We're both numbers people. We're both obsessed with numbers. I don't mean like we're mathematicians, but Paula will go to the website and she has spreadsheets for everything. So when I'm on a day my podcast is crushing it, by like 1 p.m. she'll be like, dude, you are slaying it today. Because she has these metrics on the Excel spreadsheet set up that we can detect where it's coming from. I mean, we don't see your eye. We don't know where you are specifically, but we know generally where
As he says, the little bubbles.
The bubbles pop up and she's like all over it. And what do I do? I'm always like, well, what do you think the other guys are doing? And again, I have personal friends in the industry I would never, ever compete with. Ever. You probably know who they are. But I have others I don't know, and I'm super competitive. And I'm like, what do you think they're doing today? Because we need to be doing more. And what are they on Amazon? We should be number one. And am I competitive? Yeah, but I think, that's why our show is the way it is. I mean, you've told me even a few times, like when we do those Thanksgiving specials and stuff, she's like, just do an easy show. And what do? I still do the damn show the way
He'll spend
all day on. She's like, it's Thanksgiving. No one wants a deep show. I'm like, I got to do it. Because I owe you that. My job is not hard. I get to sit down and read and transmit the information you need. I have an obligation to give it to you. But yeah, I've always
I like the lighter shows you do sometimes.
They do very well. The rough cuts.
The rough cuts, yeah, they're great.
They do very well.
Some workout advice. They're great.
I love working out. That's my thing. But I am falling apart. You can probably see my elbows they actually don't straighten, right? My arms don't straighten anymore. Some lady on Instagram once said I look like an orangutan, which I took personal because my arms, I'm not kidding. Because my arms they don't straighten anymore because my elbows are so mangled from arthritis.
All right, this is a little bit of advice here. What's your advice for a male with all the talent and potential in the world who just hasn't been able to put it all together yet?
All right. This is important, and this is the best end question ever. One of the best books I ever read. It's not a conservative book, but look at me, I'm advertising someone else's book. But that's the right thing to do because people have done nice by me, and this book sold very well. You all are great. But I read a book by Nassim Taleb called The Black Swan, and some of the best advice I ever got in my life I read in that book, and the gist of it was this. Collect opportunities, but never chase trains, right? Meaning, if you are 35 and you haven't got your life together, whatever. I mean, listen, I'm 43. Sometimes I still don't have my time, right? Collect opportunities, meaning the book, the whole focus of the book is how super successful people all over the world, there's no common thread. They're not all super good looking. They're not all super smart. They didn't go to Ivy Leagues. Some of them worth $1 billion didn't even graduate college. You know what they did? They collected opportunities. They went out, they went to dopey cocktail parties they hated. They showed up and networked with people. And sooner or later, someone at one of those events, after 1,000 crappy cocktail parties you never wanted to go to, someone gave them a card and said, call me. And now they're billionaires and they own their own damn islands. It is the best advice ever. Some of these people are again, we're not athletic. We're not like movie star handsome. We're not even, some of them self-admittedly weren't even that book smart. And they collected opportunities because they had, and there's a book out there, I don't know the name of it, about grit. They just kept charging. Sylvester Stallone's a great example. The guy just would not end. But that's the collect opportunities part. But the second part of that is don't chase trains. Meaning, if the train leaves at 8 o'clock and you need to get to work, then you better get your ass to that train. If you're at 7:59, you're chasing the train, you don't want it bad enough. You didn't want to get on that train. You did not want to get on that train. You knew that train left at 8 and you got there at 7:59. So if you're going to collect opportunities, don't chase trains. Go for it, commit to it, put the freaking horse blinders on and just go. And that's what we did. Remember with the podcast? We thought we were so terrified it was going to fail. And we're like, we're not letting this thing fail.
Right after the election.
Right after the election. That was almost 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And we said, we are doing this. I know this is the future of audio. We are doing this podcast. And this thing is going to be a monster. And 4 years later, it is. And we never chase trains. We do 260 shows a year. Every single weekday, holidays, doesn't matter. No matter what, I don't have to, by the way, I'm on a salary. I get paid no extra money to do that. And we do it because we don't chase trains. Best advice ever.
That is good advice. All right, so we got a little fun segment here. 22 questions in 2 minutes.
All right.
All right, ready?
Ready.
All right. Where were you born?
Flushing Hospital, Queens, New York.
Who would you want to play you in a movie?
I said the guy from American Pie, that kid Chris, but you think The Rock.
The audience is going to agree with me, The Rock. All right, if you agree with me, please.
I'm 230 pounds, though. The Rock is 20 pounds heavier. I think he's like 250. So
The Rock, sure.
He may have to slim down.
No. Oh, yeah.
He would never.
That's doable. What was your first job?
Loading the toilet paper shelf aisle in the Finest supermarket,
Key
64th
Food?
place. No, that was Finest. Key Food was after that.
Was it the
Yeah, I was the papers
Okay.
guy, so I would towels and toilet paper.
Something new every day.
Told you, 21 questions. Were you right? You see, right? Isn't
There
that the
you
trick?
go, I guess you're
You
right.
didn't even know that. We've married forever. Key Food was after that.
What is your biggest fear?
I'm intensely claustrophobic. Big time. Which is odd because I'm a grappler. And there's
I thought
always
you were
some
gonna-
200-pound wrestler like smothering me and Mount Pizan. That doesn't bother me. I just don't like close spaces.
Who makes you laugh the most?
Oh, you. Gosh, you make me laugh. Are you kidding me? Some of the stuff you've done. Right? We laughed.
We did dance last night.
Yeah, the dance was awesome. If we would, you know how many books we'd sell if you got up and did that dance right now?
That's funny.
We would be number one everywhere. We'd be number one if you did that dance. We'd be number one in perpetuity. There would never be another book sold on Amazon.
What is the one thing you need to have in your fridge at all times?
Lenny and Larry's protein cookies. Oh my, right?
He loves those.
Oh man, are they good? I
They
tear
run
that.
out all the time.
Oh, I
Come home
eat those
without them.
things
He's
like
upset.
crazy. They're so good.
What is your greatest accomplishment?
I mean, outside of family, I mean, professional I mean, obviously my, wife and kids, your family, but finishing my MBA, that was hard. Wasn't that? Oh my God. I did an MBA
Working
while employed full-time plus
the
as a Secret
detail.
Service on the
Traveling
president's
all the
detail.
time.
I did an MBA at Penn State University. It was the hardest thing I ever did. I couldn't wait for that to end.
Who is the most interesting person you met recently?
I don't know. Most interesting. I meet so many interesting people. Probably that kid we met at the rally down in Jupiter for Ron DeSantis. Right?
Oh,
that kid was
yeah.
fascinating, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah. I mean so many interesting people. I honestly couldn't grade them. But that kid was an interesting cat.
What is your middle name?
John, after my dad.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh my gosh, which is ironic because it happens on my podcast. Sound effects, like people who make nasty sound effects, like I hate it. And during my podcast, it happens all the time.
And you get emailed.
I get emailed. Will you stop swallowing during the show? One lady said, "Will you stop breathing during the show?" I'm like, you mean breathing at all, or just breathing loudly? But that is a pet peeve. I hate it. I totally get it when the audience tells me that. We're trying.
What is the last book you read?
The Nassim Taleb one, not Black Swan, the new one. Gosh, it's sitting right there. I forget the name of it, but it's really good. Nicholas Taleb's latest book is excellent.
What is your favorite hobby?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, no doubt. I don't think is that even a question,
Yes, that's true.
It drives her crazy. I watch Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu videos all day. Sometimes it drives her nuts.
Okay, you still watching this? Watch them over and over.
I love them.
What is your guilty pleasure?
It's a family show, so let's move on to the next question.
All right, moving on. Do you have any hidden talents?
I have any hidden talent? I'm a really good juggler. Did you know that? I can juggle.
You keep saying that, but I've never seen you.
Yes,
I did know that.
When I was playing baseball growing up, I heard that juggling
tennis
is good for
balls
your
around here?
your hand-eye coordination. So I'm actually a pretty good juggler.
What color is your toothbrush?
Green. But here's the thing. It's only because I'm getting a new quip.
That's
so
right,
the quip's
you
sending a
just
blue
ordered
one.
it,
My
yeah.
other one, I
Right,
burnt the
right.
motor out of my old one screwing around. So it's
Okay, I think
temporary.
you already answered this one, but what is your secret snack?
Oh yeah, the protein cookies. No, or maybe the Power Crunch bars too. Those are good. But the Lenny and Larry's are Lenny and
I've
Larry's.
also seen you eat Oreos.
Lenny and Larry's, I'm expecting you to buy a copy of the book now. PremierCollectibles.com/Spygate, Lenny. We gave you a free plug. Buy an autographed copy.
Right. Okay, how do you take your coffee?
Just with lactated milk. I can't digest milk. No sugar though. I used to have sugar, but now I hate it.
What is the last movie you saw in the theaters?
Oh, we just saw that awesome movie with Eichmann about the tracking down of Adolf Eichmann. I forget the name of it, but
that was
wasn't
good.
that so good?
That was great.
That was a great movie. When the mission, when they go to track down Eichmann in Argentina, great movie. Can't recommend it enough.
What is the last gift you gave?
The last gift I gave. What is the last gift I only buy you stuff?
No.
What did I get you last?
know.
Oh, the earrings. Yes, the earrings.
Yes.
That was a good hint. I
yeah,
like
I
how you
know.
did that. They look
I
good
know,
on you.
right? I did that.
David
on
Yurman.
purpose. I read this. I gotta put these on.
Yeah, that was it. And then we got you the Chanel people love.
That's right. What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel, the defense of Israel.
What is number 1 on your bucket list?
Number 1 on my bucket list. Well, I hate to say this. It was to go to an Oakland Raiders game, but now that I'm boycotting the NFL for the rest of my life, I'm not sure anymore. The NFL better clean their act up. But it was. I remember I used to tell you we got to get out there. You know what's number 1 now? Going back to that bar we met in. I told you that last night.
Yes, he's been on that.
I said we got to go stand in the spot we met, Sullivan's, but it's got a new name now.
All right, last one. Where do you want to go that you've never been? You've been
Italy.
to a lot of places. Oh,
I've
yes.
been to Russia,
That's
Jordan,
true.
36
You've seen
countries, Colombia twice, Israel, and during the Secret Service. But I'm Italian, half Italian, which is funny. Paula's Colombian, has not been back to Colombia since she's what?
12.
12. I'm Italian, and I've been almost everywhere except Italy. But I've been to Colombia twice, and she's been in the United States. She's never been back, and I've never been to Italy. How horrifying.
I know.
We'll go one day.
We keep saying we're gonna go.
And we're going to do
We'll
the
have time.
Israel trip, too. But that's definitely a cause close to my heart. So.
All right, so we are all done. You have any
Hey,
closing?
thank you so much. One more time. No,
Thank you,
I'm
guys.
sorry, but if you want an autographed copy, we signed them. You have been just amazingly loyal. We've literally sold over 1,000 of these already. Autographed copies are not book plates. They're actual signatures. I signed them right here. We signed a ton more. PremierCollectibles.com/Spygate. PremierCollectibles.com/Spygate. If you're on Twitter, I tweeted out the link. You can still go there and buy a copy. I appreciate it. Those all watching this on, everyone who's seen it on tape, thank you very much. We really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
I hope you learned a little bit about me and my beautiful wife. And thank you to Premier Collectibles. You guys
thank you.
and ladies are awesome. We appreciate it. See you all on the podcast tomorrow on NRA TV tonight. Take care.
All right, bye guys.
You're great. Look at you. All natural. You have fun?